You're on.
Good evening and welcome to Sights and Sounds of Historic Berks County. I'm your host, Amanda Matrick, and tonight I'm joined by Vicki Hefner, Education Curator of the Berks History Center, and Brad Kassam, President of the Historic Preservation Trust of Berks County. Thank you both so much for being here.
Absolutely.
We're going to go ahead and get started with Vicki and hear a little bit about the Berks History Center. If you just want to give us some real brief background, and then I know you have some events and things coming up that you'd like to share with us.
Well, the Berks History Center is possibly one of the oldest county historical societies in the United States. We need to research that fact to actually say we're the oldest.
Okay.
But we are celebrating our 150th anniversary this year.
Gosh.
So we were formed in 1869, and we didn't collect artifacts for about the first 30 years of our
Okay.
history.
Okay.
We began collecting in 1898.
All right.
And then so for more than 100 years, we've been collecting, and we've just finished a museum initiative in that we counted all our artifacts. And we're at about 18 or 19,000 in our collection right now, but that doesn't count what's over in our archives, which is possibly 50,000 or more.
Okay, who wants to
Because-
count all that, right?
Well, we're going to start doing that once the museum is finished.
That's what interns are for.
We know, though, that that's going to be about a 5-year project. And it's just because, you have postcards and photographs, and
my
there's
gosh,
just that much
yes.
more stuff to do.
Yes.
But we have our anniversary year. We have a number of events planned, and our first one is on July the 12th.
Okay.
It is on July 12th, 1869 was when our charter was drawn. So we're having a Charter Day Jubilee, and it's going to be our museum. We're going to have actors stationed throughout the museum to give you a guided tour. There's going to be hot hors d'oeuvres as well as a cash bar.
Ooh.
And entertainment. So it's going to be a really nice night, and it's $25 per person.
Okay.
And then on October the 26th, we are doing a Hidden Treasures of the Ole Valley, and we have 2 very nice properties that will be open, as well as tours of the Sacred Oak.
Oh,
and that event
nice.
is only $15, and it does include some food.
right.
We're not serving a lunch, but we're going to have some food that's included in the price. And then on December the 13th, in 1869 was our Incorporation Day.
Okay.
So we're going to have an Incorporation Day birthday bash. And we're still making plans for that. We were going to go a little small, but it looks like it's going to be pretty big.
A little bigger,
I
okay.
think the invitation list is about 300 people. We just looked at it last week.
Okay.
So it could be very huge.
Yeah.
So we're very excited. To have an organization 150 years old is pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
It really
Wow.
is.
Amazing.
So we also have
Excellent.
coming up immediately on March the 9th is our second Saturday program.
Okay.
And for years now we've been celebrating Women's History Month and having a Women's History program, and Hallie Vaughn will be back again. And she is going to be talking about the code breakers of World War II,
All right.
which is very exciting. Unfortunately, our BCTV program was canceled last week due to the snow. So I wasn't able to do the interview with Hallie to prepare for tonight, but I did a little bit of reading and a little bit of research, and over 10,000 women signed up to go to Washington, D.C., not
Oh my
really knowing what
gosh.
they were going for.
Yes.
And they were teachers, and they were educated women, and they showed up, and they were breaking codes during World War II. And unfortunately didn't get much recognition for
Yeah.
it. So now,
Yeah.
all these years later, this wonderful book was written, and Hallie Vaughn usually does a first-person interpretation, so I'm sure she will
Okay.
do that again.
Okay.
And that program, again, is March the 9th, and it's at 10 o'clock. It starts at 10.
Okay.
And we serve light refreshments at 9:30, and it's $5 for members and $8 for non-members.
Okay.
And then what I'm really here to talk about tonight is our Berks History Conference,
Yes.
which is our 4th annual.
I was going to ask because I know it's been a few years now.
Yes, we try to theme it every year, so we know the Civil War is very popular. So we're hoping for good numbers this year, but we have 4 presenters lined up.
So is that the theme for this year?
Yes, the Civil
Okay.
War.
Great.
And each of the presenters will tie it into Berks County somehow, but we also have some bigger topics,
Okay.
like Antietam is one of them. Now, of course, there were Berks County regiments at Antietam, but I would like to tell you that Mark Flum, who's a very well-known Berks County historian, will be our first presenter, and the title of his talk is Three Cheers and a Ringgold Tiger. So he'll be certainly talking about the first offenders, which came from Berks County. We also have John Lawler, who will be, his title is called All Manner of Petty Annoyances, and his is probably the thing the program I will learn the most in, because I don't know very much about what he'll be talking about, but it's with Berks County, and maybe you know a little bit more about this, Brad. Berks County was the only county in Pennsylvania that didn't vote for Lincoln.
Yes.
And it was a Democratic county, and it still remains a Democratic county, so he'll be speaking a little bit about that and the thoughts and ideas that were going on at that time.
Oh my gosh.
We also have Stephen Recker, and you may know a little bit about him. Both Brad and I belong to the Civil War Roundtable at Berks County, but he has a rare collection of photographs from the Battle of Antietam. And what he has done is taken old photographs and then matched them with new photographs and kind of put the two together. So that should be a very interesting program. And Scott Mingus, who has been to our facility a few times, will be back again, and he'll be talking about the Philadelphia, Wilmington, Baltimore Railroad and the first offenders. So it'll be a great day. It's $60 for non-members, $50 for members, and it includes a box lunch.
Excellent. Wow. All right. Fabulous.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I think I'll let Brad talk for a while, and if there's a few minutes at the end, I'll be more
You
than
can
happy.
recap, because that was a lot. That was an awful lot.
Yes.
All right. Well, Brad, why don't you start us off with a little bit of background about the trust?
Okay. First of all, I have to say this is like Old Home Week,
Yeah.
because we've all either been in groups together, associations,
true, right?
or have worked together for, in some cases, over 30
The
years.
two of
I know
you
you
is
close to 30 years,
yes.
Brad.
So this is like Old Home Week.
And gee, I could even talk about the trust a little bit if
Yes,
you
because
need
they
some
are also
help.
all board members of the Historic
Yeah.
Preservation Trust. So I'm
goodness.
fortunate to have them on the board.
So if you make an error, we can correct you.
Absolutely. Just feel free to jump in anytime.
Not really. You're the expert.
The Historic Preservation Trust of Berks County is not the official steward of historic properties for Berks County. We are a 501c3 private organization, nonprofit organization. But what we do have is we are the caretakers of 9 18th century properties. And anyone who has watched this program in the past, I've gone over all of those. But just to recap, we own the oldest stone home in Berks County, which is the Mounds Jones House. That's 1716. That's located in Douglasville, right along the river. Immediately adjacent to the Mounds Jones House is the Michael Fulp House. Some people might know it as the Bridge Keeper's House, which was kind of a misnomer for a long time. Michael Fulp House has been completely restored, but the date on that is 1783. The Mounds Jones House, we're in the process of restoring that to its original condition. We also own the Jacob Keim homestead in Loboxville, Ole Valley. That's 1753. That is a truly unique property. The original section of that home from 1753 has never had electricity nor running water in that, and we were very fortunate 2 years ago to have that property placed on. It's now a yes.
National Historic Landmark.
National
say
landmark.
landmark.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I'm thinking National Register, but it's a national landmark now. We have a 99-year lease on the DeTurk House in Ole. We've done extensive restoration on that. We have the two other buildings in Douglasville. It's the George Douglas Mansion, which is currently being restored, and the White Horse Tavern, which is 1762, which also serves as the Trust's headquarters. The other building, which is beyond the area that we normally focus on, and that's the Hottenstein Mansion, which is north of Kutztown. That's 1783. Again, we are a nonprofit. We're 501c3, so we're always very accommodating when it comes to donations, contributions, and volunteers. Do you want me to go into some of the events that
Sure.
are coming up?
Yeah.
Okay. The event coming up in the near future is something that another member of the trust and I go out and do. We call it our dog and pony show. But on Monday, March 4th at 7:30, Larry Ward and I are doing a program for the Berks Photographic Society we'll be showcasing some old photographs that we have of trust properties. And that's open to the public. Again, that begins at 7:30 on Monday, the 4th of March. We have our ongoing third Saturday programs, and those are normally held at the White Horse Tavern in Douglasville. We go into hiatus over the winter. The first one for this season will be on May 18th. We don't have a title for that yet, but the speaker will be the director of Pennsbury Manor, which is a state PHMC site. On June 15th, Larry Ward and I will be giving the talk. That's Mounds Jones, on the topic of his being a licensed Indian trader. On July 20th, that's an all-day event. Amity Township is celebrating its 300th anniversary, and in conjunction with Amity Township, we were asked to participate because of the involvement of Mounds Jones. So that's an all-day event on July 20th. That runs from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. On August 17th, a board member and former PHMC site director, Jim Lures, will be giving a talk. That topic is to be determined yet. That's, again, August 17th. September 21st, we have a joint venture with Archaeological Chapter 2 and the Morlaton Village Amity Historical Society will be giving a joint talk. And then on October 19th, we have a talk or a program at the Douglas Mansion, and that's entitled Mistress Douglas and Mr. Douglas at Home. So we have quite a few events coming up. Two of our annual events, I'll just mention them briefly because they're at the end of the year and actually the beginning of 2020. We have our annual Christmas tea. That's an event that has gone on for 40 plus years. That's always the first Wednesday in December, site to be determined. And then approximately January 6th, we have just started a new program which has become extremely popular. It's called 12th Night Celebration. That's held at the White Horse Tavern and will probably be held the Saturday closest to January 6th.
Okay. That probably the first Saturday of the month?
Probably, yeah. With the idea of 12th night is it's 12 days post
After Christmas. Correct.
And just to give our programs a plug, if any organization or church, civic group, scouting group needs speakers with a bit of a different topic, we do have a program that we can take out on the road, and we will come to your site, and there is no fee for that, and we'd be glad to make that presentation.
Well, and several, really. I mean,
yes, we do. We do the Mounds
Jones.
Jones. We have this photographic program. I actually have one on the Boone Homestead that I can do. So
kind of just a
there are
general
different
one on the trust and all.
and on the trust,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, there are a lot of
Even
programs we can do.
Kine.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Brad, you didn't mention where your photographic presentation will be held.
Yeah. Good point.
Well,
If anybody's
I would like to
because
make it.
apparently the Berks Photographic Society is a very well kept secret. It's located at 40 North Noble Street in Reading, which is just off Lancaster Avenue. So again, I am told it's open to the public, and again, that's Monday, March 4th at 7:30.
And that's you and Larry Ward.
Larry
correct?
Ward and
Okay.
I will be
Okay.
doing that program. Yes.
Excellent.
I'm curious about the landmark process? How long did that take for the trust to do?
That was about a 4 to 5 year process. And I must give credit to a member who is no longer in the area but is well known to a lot of people in the Ole Valley, and that's Phil Pendleton. Did a lot of the work.
Actually did the physical
Yes, he did. He
nomination,
actually
right?
did
Yes.
the research on that
Yeah.
and did the presentation. And for those people who aren't familiar with National Landmark status, that's through the National Park Service. So they have very rigorous
I
requirements.
know. I wish I could remember now the numbers of just National Trust properties
Yeah,
versus
the National Landmark
or
status.
National, I'm sorry, National Historic Register properties versus landmarks because it's
National
there's
Landmark
so
status. There are
few.
only 2,500
Is it, okay.
in the entire country. There are 3 in Berks County.
Yes.
It's
Wiser.
the Wiser, the Gruber Wagon Works,
Yes.
and Kime.
And Kime.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are the 3 national landmark status.
And only like was it only like 100 some in Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania.
Or is it like 100 some not counting what's in Philadelphia?
Right. Well,
I'm not sure.
certain
forget
states
exactly.
dominate. California has quite a few.
Really?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
surprised about that. Pennsylvania has a
I
good
would
number.
think, and,
Virginia,
Massachusetts probably.
Virginia, Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a real feather in our cap.
Yes.
But it's a treasure for Berks County, and I don't think it's one of those best kept secret
Mm-hmm.
type sites. And by the way, all of our sites are open to the public, basically on request. If you just contact the organization at our Douglasville office, and if you want tours, if no one answers the phone, please just leave a message. We will get back to you. And you probably
try
know
to get
the telephone number better than I do.
No,
Okay.
385.
It's 610-385-4762. And the website is www.historicpreservationtrust.org.
We do try and have the buildings open at least once a year for
We
the
do.
public.
When there are
The
special
Kime
events.
Homestead, especially since it's now.
We do. There are more events probably in more Latin, which is Douglasville,
Yes.
because of the concentration of
Yeah.
structures there.
Well,
But
and there's parking and
there's parking.
restrooms,
Parking
and amenities.
is fairly limited at the Kime Homestead. It's
Yeah.
almost non-existent at DeTurk. But we do make accommodations for that. But again, anybody who is interested in seeing any of the properties, please feel free to contact the trust. Someone will try to be there for you.
Fabulous.
It's curious that 99-year lease on DeTurk, is that about half?
It's about half over.
Half
yeah.
over.
Yeah, we're about halfway through our 99
And what
year.
do you think will happen at the end of 99 years?
I would
Renew?
hope that they would either renew or
don't wanna
just
speculate,
gift us
though.
the property. That would be nice. But the Gottwalds who own the property have been very generous.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot even speculate what will happen at the end of it.
I believe Michelle Lynch just featured that on her floor plans.
Okay.
The DeTurk, yes. It was a gingerbread house type of thing and a bakery downstairs,
Okay.
which I was surprised about because
I don't know if
it's kind of a small
It's a
house.
very small house.
Yes.
It's one room on the main level. There's a loft space,
Mm-hmm.
and then the kitchen is in the lower level, the cellar. And what's interesting is there are no interior staircases
Mm-hmm.
from the main level down to the kitchen. You have to go outside, down an embankment, and in a side
But
door.
now, is there a staircase to get to the loft?
Yes, there's a
Okay,
staircase to the
yes,
loft.
I thought, I thought I'd seen that.
Interesting building, though.
Yeah.
Probably constructed as like an elder
Yeah,
house,
like a
parent's
or
house,
something. Yeah.
which very often those elder homes or parents' homes were attached to the main house. This is detached.
Yeah. But not all that accommodating if you had to go out the front
Not
and around
really,
the bottom.
no, not really.
And
Yeah.
essentially 3 floors, so
Yeah.
that kind of defeats the.
Yeah, it's kind of there's
Purpose.
some questions about that building.
Yeah,
Yes.
when I read Michelle's article, it made me think quite a bit, and I actually got Phil Pendleton's book out
Yeah.
and read what he wrote about it. And you just wouldn't think that a person could have a successful bakery in the 1770s. So that was my question
in a
mark.
relatively rural area at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe she was a talented baker.
maybe.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Just one
Tidbit.
other note, the Hottenstein Mansion, if anyone's ever been to Winterthur,
Yes. Okay, yeah.
the best room, the parlor, the second floor ballroom or best room in the Hottenstein Mansion was actually purchased by the DuPonts and is now on display in Winterthur.
Now, is that when that was not when the trust
No,
owned
that was
it?
that was pre-trust.
Pre-trust.
That was pre-trust.
And mentioning Winterthur, I will be running a bus trip
Oh.
there on April the 2nd.
So-
And I'm sure you know that particular room is on their general tour.
Yes.
So
Excuse
me?
everybody sees it when they go there.
So if anybody would like to see the room,
April the 2nd,
Take the
we're
bus tour.
actually going to see the Crown. They
Yes!
have an exhibit
So I had
there
just-
on the Crown.
Yes, I just heard that actually.
And if you're interested, I recommend very much calling soon because I know I only have a few seats left, which means a 56-seat bus is just about sold out. It's very popular, but it's $90 for members and $100
Okay.
for non-members. And then in the afternoon, the Barnes Britton House, maybe you're familiar with it.
Yes.
The White Horse Tavern has a barkeep. And I've been fascinated with barkeeps, and they have a barkeep there. I was there about 20 years ago, and I want to go back and see it.
and where is this now?
It's the Barnes Britton House, which is on Route 1
it's
right
on
by
Route 1.
Winterthur.
Yes.
And it, I think 1760s or maybe 1750s it had been built.
Yes.
Very interesting. And I know.
In the heart of the Battle of Brandywine.
Exactly, it
Yes.
was.
Wow. And I know you had mentioned your Women's History Alliance. Do you just want to?
Yes, we
closing,
actually
mention
we're getting ready to celebrate the 100th anniversary of women's rights to vote,
Yes.
the 19th
Okay.
Amendment, which is in 2020. We're going to do a kickoff event again next March with Hallie Vaughn doing
Okay.
Alice Paul and a
Okay.
presentation on the suffrage movement. And then what we're hoping is that other organizations continue
kinda
to
pick up
plan.
on it, yes.
And then our final event will be on August the 26th, which is National Equality Day.
All right.
And it's also when the amendment was ratified on the 18th and then
Yes, I remember
finalized
hearing
on the
about this. There was
26th.
some.
So we're
time
going to do a
passed,
big
yes.
dinner at the Doubletree, and we're going to march on
Oh.
Penn Street.
Oh my gosh.
It may just be on the sidewalks, but we're going to march somehow.
Well, hey, that
And hopefully
counts.
wear our suffrage
Oh my
banners.
gosh.
And yeah, we have a whole bunch of things going on. So it's the Women's History Alliance, and we have monthly meetings at the Berks History Center. In fact,
Excellent.
February 27th is a meeting.
Wonderful. All right. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time, but thank you both so much for joining me tonight and for giving us a bit of information about both of these wonderful historic sites. And we'll catch you next time.